Hello and welcome in the IBP series powered by Camelot. Today, let's discuss about planning view in Excel. You may spend a little time. Let's go through some advice and how to organize and optimize your time in defining this Excel template. That's maybe some kind of art to create a nice template. Let's see that. Here, I try to summarize the many steps that you need to go over in order to create a good planning view template. And by the way, this is not an easy topic, so you can take hours of work before you get to the final result of a nice and working template, so-called planning view here. So first, you have to define the content. And so the content is definitely nothing very specific. It's standard. You define what are the time axes, what are the attributes you want to show, like product and locations. Also, which key figure you want to see. To some extent, how can we organize that in rows and columns in the Excel view? Then finalizing this with a filtering and possibly some alerts. And then we go to the graphics. The graphics, which is probably the weakest point in Excel Addin for IBP, where we have either the XLAM, so-called an Excel Addin proposition given by SAP, or using the macro. To my point of view, probably the XLAM one is the best one. Why? Because you will centralize the maintenance of those necessary macros developed by SAP into a single entry point, and not that you replicate in each template those different macros, which is the second option based on XLSM. Okay. Although that one is simple, but unfortunately, you disseminate in the many templates the same macro several times, and if you need to change one macro, you have to go over all templates. Then, it's not because SAP says there is the IBP formatting sheet available for you to do the cosmetic that you have to think this is a necessary and mandatory way to go forward. No way. You can simplify the management of your template planning views using Excel capabilities, which you save in your template. You can also make use of the formatting sheet given by SAP. We'll see how it works. Man, you need a PhD to first understand how it works. It's nice, but it's very limited, and don't waste your time. To which limit should you use it, and when do you decide, okay, stop now. Then we'll see also what, by the way, is a template, what does include a template, and also how can you organize these templates in chapter 6 here. How do you organize the templates so that they are understandable by your business users? What kind of documentation can you add into your template? And last but not least, still for the functional development, would you like to have some additional macro within your template or not? So let's see that by the demo now. When creating a new template, you can decide either to start from scratch. In other words, no data, no elements yet created. And then from the very beginning, you start building up your template, or you start from an existing template. Okay. I will use the template version to simplify this presentation, so that I go from template. And then in the template list, which is here the SCM Lab solution that I'm using as support for this demo, I will cherry pick the history cleansing. By so doing, the system shows me that I have in this template defined already time definitions with a month rolling for a number of months, then the attributes, which are product and customers, and then the key figures related to history cleansing in that case. Yeah, okay, fine. And then the layout, where you decide whether the data should be shown as a row or a column. So the time is usually a column on the right side, whereas the attributes are on the row part, meaning on the left side of the grid. But you can decide, for instance, to send the key figure as a column. It's your decision. Then you can define, and you are advised to define some filter in order not to have too many data in Excel, and that's a best practice. And we are almost finished with a template, and the template also includes, and don't forget it, may include some workbook settings, and particularly in supply, this is very important, not only for the filter, but also for the planning scope. So that is part of your planning view. Okay. And by so doing now, if I accept as it is, then I get my template being displayed. out of which we have a number of elements on the screen, which are the time definition as given in the planning view, the list of attributes that are relevant to this display, and the key figures. And we see that the key figures are displayed horizontally according to the period. So in this worksheet, we have the data itself, the attribute part, the time, the header of the attributes, and the graphical part. So if you want to manage any graphics using the SAP elements, you need to fly in Google, in Chrome. In this URL, I can find the different versions over time, okay, of the templates as available, for instance, here in release 23.02. And here you have the two options, which are either the Addin, Excel Addin, or the XLSM version. Where do you maintain or implement the Excel Addin? You go in File, you go in Option, and in Options you see there is Addin. And in these add-ins you have several kinds of add-ins. We are interested with Excel Addin, and you go. If you upload, okay, if you browse and upload the one from the GitHub from SAP, that will appear here, and you just click it up, and it becomes available to manage in all of your template this graphical part. Okay. So in this version, by the way, I've also simplified this part to have a less footprint of this graphical management on my templates and give more preference for the data. Now we come to the cosmetic part of this template, of this planning view. So this is about the color management. As I said, there is a basic way of defining that, and there is the formatting sheet way of doing that. For the basic one, let me show you another template, history analysis. As you see here in this template, there is no utilization of IBP formatting sheet. It's all made here on purpose, okay? And the only precaution I've taken is if I want white, gray, and this color and so on, I just replicate this color management far enough in the rows so that when I save my template, it is prepared to cover a selection of at least 253 rows of data will be formatted this way. That kind of fixed formatting is only valid if you are sure that the key figure distribution will be always the same. Okay, what do I mean? For instance, history cleansing, it's typically something which is static. So one product comes with that many key figures always, okay, that product customer, huh? And always and always. But now if we are in supply, for instance, in a capacity management things and one resource, I want to see resource and product below, but the product, there can be one too many, the fixed formatting doesn't work. Then you have to think of a conditional formatting using the IBP formatting sheet. So what is that stuff? This is something which you can access by edit view format. In fact, this is a hidden worksheet. And by the way, we see also that there is a chart feeder in this VBA and whatever Excel Addin options to control the graphs. There is a so-called chart feeder. Don't go there touching anything. Okay, back to formatting sheet. So if I want to see the formatting sheet, just open it, and here we have the formatting sheet content displayed. But before you can use the formatting sheet, you have to here set the options for your current template. And in this option pop-up, you need to come here and say, yes, I want to use dynamic formatting from, and then here you cherry pick the SAP formatting sheet or the name you would have given in order to control the formatting of your sheet. And also very important, this apparently global option pop-up is not global. This is linked to your template. How does it work? There is four sections. The first one is the default formatting for anything coming in Excel. And the logic of this formatting sheet, it goes from the top to the bottom, meaning that if something applies because of one rule here, it can be reviewed and overridden by something which goes at the bottom. Okay, so for instance here, that's why when you define, I want to use priority on row instead of columns, you see here row column, and then when I switch, it switched that from column rows, meaning that if I do something in column, but which one is also valid and applicable for the row formatting, the last one will win. Okay, so let's not do that. Okay, so here, for instance, by default, I want the default format for the header to be dark blue. Dark blue. That dark blue does not apply to these particular cells here. The header of attributes. You have to manage the format here manually. Then we have a sections to format the so-called the member. What, Daniel, is a member? A member is anything that is displayed. This is the member. And by the way, we see EPMO lap member. This is a member. This is a member. This is a member. Okay? And that member is of the dimension customer. That member is of the dimension product. So in formatting sheet, you can control the member formatting either by the priority from row to column. So column is more prioritized here, or the other way around again. So you see that switch over. Let me not switch anything. And here you have a standard proposition. So don't forget to apply the rule that you want to observe or not. This one will never apply. This one will apply. Okay. This one as well will apply, unless a more priority one is selected below. I mean below even here or below because of the column management. And then you have further down another sections to manage the format of and the bending like in an Excel table. In there, you decide what to activate, and then you need to, this is the standard proposition. For instance, non-editable cells should be shown as grayed. Okay, grayed out. Okay, fine. And that's for the data, and that's for the header. This gray came from that rules we have just seen. And not only the gray was applied, but also you define for the data part and or for the header part to which extent the cosmetic should be applied. So if I double click here, you see that in fact it is mentioned as all, meaning everything around the cells will be controlled by the formatting. Nothing will be controlled by the formatting. Everything will be controlled. Nothing but only the border, or maybe nothing but only the pattern, like the background color and so on. So you can really control with precision what you want to kind of cosmetic the cell of type non-editable cell. Okay, so you see that for the non-editable cells, for the editable cells, this depends, of course, of the settings you do in IBP on the Fiori side. Then possibly the local members that you would have introduced in your planning view. What is that local member? Local member is nothing coming from IBP, something which you would have introduced manually. How do you do that? You insert a line, and then you say this is my key figure, my local key figure, your local. Then because you place a formula here, and you say this is equal to that plus that, then IBP detects that you have introduced a so-called local member, okay, which is driven by a formula of your choice and becomes part of your template. So in such case, you can also perform the cosmetic, these local members with this route. Because my template does not include any local member, it was deactivated. Then you have, whenever you have changed any value, you want to highlight the value which were changed by the user. And now we come to the conditional formatting based on sales content. Okay, so this conditional formatting based on sales contents for the row. Okay, well, how do we do that? But in fact, you click this button, and here the system tells you, okay, what kind of condition you want to observe in order to apply this formatting. So you say, okay, I want to add a condition, which can be, don't be misled with this ABC, which can be anything from the dimension that you have available, order, location, so on. And by the way, if I want to only control the color because of the key figure name, I would select key figure. And then in the key figure, I see the key figure of my planning area. And I say, well, okay, if it's actual quantity and or actual production and or whatever, then I would apply the format. And which format? Now you see there is a new line, and now you decide the format. So I want it as a written in red, then with a yellow background, for instance. If you want to come back on the rule itself later, so let me change. And then, oh, by the way, I made a mistake. It was for another key figure, not for this one, not for this one, but for this one. Okay. This is or, you see the or, this is for actual or actual year -3. Now, if I want to complement the condition with something more, then I had a group condition, and you see now it's an and. So it's either actual or actual year -3 plus and a condition which should be maybe not linked to any dimension or key figure, but to the properties of the key figure or to the specific selection to complement your conditions. So let's not go this complexity, but you can do. You can do. Okay. And if you do so, then, and of course the rules is applied. Let's now refresh, and now it's coming in yellow and red, as easy. So it's an, I would say, nice, but the trap really with this formatting sheet is you keep on spending a lot of time to come to the very detail of the formatting, and then you are starting wasting your time. And you see the blue is not going where it's not repeated. So that I control with the conditional formatting whenever I control the label format. Okay, how do I do? Excel, conditional formatting. And you see there is a stupid formula that is, if the cell is empty, then I apply nothing. So Excel takes over the IBP formatting in such case. So that is as it is. Now if I return here, let's say there would be something here. You see, it comes with blue. So it's just for the readability that I have done this. So you can combine conditional formatting given managed by IBP and or Excel. Another interesting case is this column here. You see, it's marked in orange. And I want it to be highlighted because it's the current column and I'm lost in the many columns. So to do so, you see now I've got the second section about column. And because priority is on column versus row, so it is at the bottom. So meaning this column, this formatting will be applied over this one. So this one comes, and then later I say, oh, for the data, please add only the border. Please add only the border, you see, the orange border. And for the header itself, please override completely everything and put an orange so that I have orange like that and orange surrounding my cells. How do I know which parameters controls the fact that the column is today or current and not in the past, not in the future? This is managed by the, as you can see here, it's managed by one particular properties that is month, quarter, or weeks, or whatever. And then in the month, you say, I want you to use the past current indicator given by SAP whenever loading data in Excel, and I want it to be PCF, past, current, and future at the same time. But it could also be only the current, only the future, and so on. And by doing this in the conditions, now this rule is validated whenever the column is current and adopts this cosmetic. Some other advice about documentation and folder. Documentation, you see that here I've placed a very local worksheet that is part of my global template, okay, which helps me to give some indication to business users so that they understand how to manage this historical cleansing template. and not that they are left on their own to question, okay, what is that key figure made for and so on. So a good trick is to insert a local worksheet, which is anyway saved in the template when you save the template. Folders as well. Whenever you manage templates, you should be creating some folders like you see here. Some folders which you can create by going in the Organize and sort your different templates in appropriate sections. These are used here. They are shown with the folder, the given folder. So that is it. We are finished with the topic for today. So we've gone along the many steps of creating an Excel template. We have seen what kind of content you need to care about, and also some tricks about using basic formatting, which I advise to do to simplify your work, but also the conditional formatting from IBP. So thanks for listening, and don't forget, if you put a like or subscribe, I'm the happiest guy. Bye now.